perspectives? And where are you willing to examine it honestly? Because tonight is not about proving your dynamic is healthy, it's about understanding how ethics actually function inside connection. Now ask yourself, do I define safety by agreement alone or by the emotional impact of the interaction itself? Stay grounded, guys. All right, let's start here. Consent is not the same as ethics.
An agreement is not the same as responsibility.
Exactly. You can agree to something and still handle it carelessly.
Yeah, and something can look stable externally while being emotionally misaligned internally, which is not good.
Ooh, not at all, because ethical kink is not just about permission.
It's about how responsibility is handled after permission is given.
All righty. Now we're going to start off by defining ethical kink. Ethical kink is awareness of impact, not just intent. Emotional accountability, not just role performance. Communication over assumption. Ongoing recalibration instead of static agreement. Non-ethical dynamics often rely on they said yes at the end of the conversation. Silence being interpreted as alignment, which it really happens. You think you being quiet and you didn't agree to nothing, that silence can be an agreement in itself. Compliance being mistaken for safety and preserving the dynamic over examining the experience. Same behavior externally, different awareness internally.
Definitely. So tonight we're going to go ahead and head to the chat. So, question for you all in the chat: where in your life do you mistake agreement for emotional safety? You can raise your hand, come off mute if you prefer to talk, or you can drop it in the chat and Sheba will read those answers. Again, where in your life do you mistake agreement for emotional safety?
I am in the chat. So far, we just got a lot of laughing at the dad jokes. Listen, he slipped it up on y'all tonight.
He did. Came in early, baby.
Right. And now I see everyone avoiding this question. And now I am scrolling through all these beautiful pictures.
Look, everybody looking like, not me.
Oh, all these beautiful faces.
Well, like that question, we can move on. Keep it moving.
All right.
No, I
Yeah,
think the
Moving
question
on.
is kind of confusing, though. Could, do you mind just repeating it?
Yeah, where in your life do you mistake agreement for emotional safety? Kind of cover what Sheba said, like if you don't say anything, then you're agreeing to be in alignment of something. If you don't speak up for yourself, you're basically agreeing, you're aligning with whatever that unspoken agreement is, whether you necessarily wanted it or not. Your silence is reflecting alignment with whatever that was. So where in your life do you mistake agreement for emotional safety? And it might not resonate with anyone. So just a question. Hey.
let's see
Hey.
here. Interest. I have some comments in the chat. Chance, hi Chance. She says, interesting question. And to
Accident.
be honest, I'm not sure how to answer. Can you reframe it? Uh, I honestly would like to break it down. Okay, so we're getting a lot of clarity on that question. Uh, Being in agreement with something doesn't mean you're emotionally safe. It's where it's getting. You can agree to a dynamic, you can agree to a set of boundaries and protocol, but that does not equate to emotional safety. And often, sometimes people think I agreed to it, so they're gonna only operate in my best interest. And people can misconstrue that. They look to that agreement being their safeguard when really it's just kind of a free pass for someone to overstep their boundaries and ethics. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Let's see here. Uh, Donna Chantel asks, I understand now. Thank you so much. Some people may not want to rock the boat. Exactly. Chiv adds, okay, I understand now. In the past, I remained silent in moments I should have screamed for help.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Donna comes back and adds, or it's considered drama. That is definitely one. When people turn your boundaries into drama, you're being drama. You're bringing chaos. That's because your boundaries prevent them from doing what they want to do. And when people are looking to get over on somebody, they don't want to be stopped. A boundary is a line that they want to cross, and you're getting in the way of that. Let me see here. Latif said, pass me by. I'm staying off the hot seat and just listening tonight. And Alan Smith, hey, Alan, adds, it hasn't happened to me. Adon wanted to pick me, and I was like, oh, hell no. As you should have, Alan. Boundaries is boundaries. And people
Right.
think because you
Say
say yes to one
no.
thing, you'll say yes to everything. No, no. I'm selective with my yeses. Even as an S type, even as a D type. D types can be in a situation where they agree to something with an S type, thinking that they're in an emotionally safe space with them when really they're just kind of looking to take advantage, or they are taking advantage. I know we've all had that D type or known a D type where they felt like their boundaries were overstepped, their boundaries were stepped over. So just want you guys to keep in mind it is not one sided. I see your hand up, EJ7 Cities. What can we do for you?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. When you silent and everything like that, it could be I don't know if I'm gonna piss the person off, so I'm gonna just hush. And sometimes that's telling me, okay, maybe it's a good idea. So silence is uncertainty a lot of times. But the D type should know their their S well enough to know if it's okay or not. That's my take on it.
Right. Thank you for your take. You're definitely right. I don't feel like there's any wrong answer than this because there are some people that give consent to have their consent violated. So, what looks like consent for you may not look like the same way for somebody else, and that is okay. Latricia adds, I assume that our negotiations and contract gave a level of emotional safety, and the saying about what happens when you assume. Exactly, Latricia.
Yeah.
You write that stuff down, but consent is an ongoing agreement. You don't cease to give consent. Every day you're giving consent. Every day you wake up, you're again reiterated, even if you don't verbalize it. But that consent is there. When you verbalize otherwise, you have to watch for those people that look like they want to tiptoe around your boundaries because that's the red flag. Let's see here. Oh, sir, we got a really good question in the chat. Timothy Ann asks, does this question count in a TPE dynamic?
Hi, Timothy Ann.
I mean, uh, I know we got other. There we go.
There it is.
Hi.
So, hey, how's everybody doing tonight? So, I'm gonna briefly touch on something real quick. Maybe it might answer this question, if I understood it right. So as a TPE dominant, it's up to us to understand these boundaries and how to stay within these boundaries. It requires constant check-ins. You got to constantly ask how your S type is feeling. Um, we have to practice discernment because in these cases, some S types might be in a state of frenzy. Summer and I was talking about this earlier. They might be in a state of frenzy and they just want to do everything. But we have to know that just because they're saying, okay, you can do everything, doesn't mean that we do everything, you know? And that's where this kind of comes into play. We have to know. That's why it's so important to have, leadership courses and, to talk to other leaders and kind of get an idea of how to move in these types of situations because you can do damage by just taking for granted that consent means you can do anything. It doesn't always mean you can do anything. So I don't know. Does that answer your question? I hope so.
Let me see.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I
Yeah.
wanted you to cover that from the D type side. As an S type, it definitely counts as well. Though I am in total submission to my sir, he still checks in with me. And I am not the same submissive I was 4 years ago when he met me. So things have changed. And we commute that. Things that were on my hard list, my hard nose, they've adjusted. So consent had to adjust. So it does operate in a TPE dynamic. It's just you have to do it through communication. You can assume that you could just change the rules. We sit down, we talk, we negotiate annually. Every time we renew the contract, we discuss the terms. And you may have to do that throughout the year. You may have to sit down and discuss 6 months into the collarversary. You may realize that I wasn't. I'm going to say butt stuff. I did not like butt stuff. I didn't. But after exploring things and exploring myself, I want to take that off of my hard limits list. I want to add that to my soft limits, or if it's a medium, situational. So you want to always check in. So it could definitely apply to a TPE dynamic. Just depends on what the parties involved will want and how they choose to structure that dynamic.
Thank you.
I second that, what she said.
All right, Summer, and I get all the questions and comments out of the chat.
All righty, so we're going to go ahead and move on to section 2, which is attunement. One of the biggest gaps in ethical dynamics is assuming agreement means ongoing alignment. But attunement requires active awareness of shifts, not just initial consent, which touched on a little bit of what my sir touched on, just check-ins periodically, because things can change, and sometimes if you're unsure, that silence can be mistaken for alignment, and you're kind of like, brewing on the inside. But I'm going to go ahead and touch a case study. According to attachment theory, Bowlby in 1988, people in emotionally significant dynamics often prioritize relational stability over honest expression of discomfort. So instead of checking in with internal truth, they default to maintaining connection, which is basically, I would equate it to suffering in silence, which I don't do. I'm very vocal about what I'm displeased in my pleasures. So you definitely don't want to just go along to appear to be in attunement in a dynamic is the key from that section.
All right, and just continuing on with that case study, because we don't stop with our case studies. Let's touch on surface stability. A dynamic appears stable externally. Rules are followed, roles are maintained, conflict is minimal. But internally, discomfort goes unspoken, emotional friction is avoided, and honesty is filtered to preserve harmony. Getting along for the sake of getting along is what some people call it. You don't want to rock the boat, so you just go along. It's a duck. On the surface, they're cool, they're calm, but underneath that surface, their legs are just kicking. And that's where the real feelings are, below the surface. And over time, the relationship becomes more about maintaining appearance than maintaining truth. According to relational psychology models, suppression of emotional truth can reserve short-term stability while weakening long-term relational integrity. And again, that was by Bowlby from a study in 1988, as well as put from Siegel's study in 2012.
Yeah, that's a good case study. I like that. So we're gonna go ahead and roll on. Is there anything in the chat?
Let's check. No, we're good to go.
Alrighty, y'all quiet tonight. Okay, we gotta get y'all talking. We might need to throw some more jokes in here. So we're gonna go ahead and cover normalization of misalignment. This is where ethical drift happens quietly. Misalignment doesn't usually start at a conflict. It starts at adaptation. So once something felt slightly off, it becomes tolerable, then normal, and then expected. Behaviorally, this reflects the habitation where repeated exposure reduces emotional sensitivity, even when the underlying issue remains unchanged. So basically, the issue is not being addressed. It's not being brought up because you want to stay in tune, but you're really misaligned, is the point of that section.
Alrighty, and that is, of course, going to lead us into our next chat question for you guys. Of course, where have you? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to jump in real quick before we go on. I just wanted to say, oftentimes we find ourselves in these situations, not just in the kink world. Like, this applies to work, it applies to school, it applies to friendships, it applies all across the board, family relationships. A lot of times we don't say anything because we don't want to rock the boat. and we just live in misery. And then, we wonder why we always just feel down and always feel drained and, always feel like it's just not quite enough. This is why, because we accept things that aren't necessarily aligned with us. And in doing that, you're wasting energy. It's like siphoning energy from yourself. So I just wanted to touch on that to follow on with what beautiful Summer said there.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much, sir.
sir.
And that actually all leads us to our next question for the audience. Where have you normalized something you once questioned? And as you
Uh,
heard sir say, it touches on different aspects of your life. So
there's a comment in the chat too, baby.
let's see here. All right. Alexander asks, you often have to pull that out of a sub who wants to please you. Agreed. Agreed.
Definitely.
I definitely I think all S types and a majority of us have kind of agreed. We want to make you happy. So we say yes. Without really considering is that a true yes for us or is it a yes for you? So definitely agree, Alexander. I have nobody else in the chat, so I am closing my eyes and I'm poking.
I think somebody said something. Did somebody come off mute?
It was me, of course, starting drama.
Okay.
Sorry, drama.
But something that Mr. Lorenzo said that definitely resonated. In my personal life, being the middle child, being the black sheep of the family, going away and coming back home and wanting to be accepted, I had the hardest time saying no. They could even see it on my face that I didn't want to, but I would not say no. So until I got sick and could not do anything, I was always that person they can call on. Now I have learned if it's not conducive for me, if it's not something that I want to do, I'm not doing it. And no is a complete sentence. No explanation needed.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to think about
Oh,
self.
I like that. I like that.
I
No is a
love that.
things. Let's go.
Listen,
Let's
everybody
go.
send
Put that
Latif those
shit.
hearts. I love that. And I can
That's that.
relate. I was that sibling too, Latif. And knows the complete answer. It doesn't require an explanation. It don't even require understanding on their part. They don't gotta understand my no. Just know my no is my no. And let's move
Period.
on.
The hardest
But I
thing to
have
say
some
no
other
to.
comments in the chat. Chance.
Sheba. Sir
Someone
Crow
call my name?
speaking.
So Crow
Sir
was
Crow.
speaking.
I was saying the
Go right there.
hardest.
You have the floor,
Hello,
sir.
everybody. Hello. The hardest thing to say no to often is yourself. That no is not just reserved for outside forces. Sometimes you have to tell yourself no to maintain your emotional health.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is very true. Thank you for that, sir.
Yes, sir. We
Very
always
good.
love a contribution from Sir Crow.
Hey, did y'all peep how this Negro hit the cigar right after he dropped the gem on y'all?
Listen, and went right back on mute, sir.
He hit the stick like,
I need one right now myself.
yeah. What's up?
Enjoy.
What's up, Crow?
Well, look, Summer, it's never too late to go get you one.
Right.
Alrighty. Chance added, wow, this topic is hitting me hard.
Hey,
Someone say my name? Oh, okay. She said she went against many limits of hers to please a previous D type. Thank goodness for growth, education, and a community that supported me. I finally got the strength to say no and stand on it. Period. Period. Boom.
Yeah.
Listen.
So
Listen.
happy for you.
I already understand, Chance. That no is a no, and I love the space you are in now. I'll be stalking you online. I love it for you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good for you.
Stephanie adds, "Hey, Steph."
Hey, Stephanie. Hey, for you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even believe this, Stephanie. She says I used to like to not like being non-confrontational in past relationships, so I would keep a lot bottled inside. I'm better than night doing that now, though. Listen, I was about to say the Stephanie
Mm-hmm.
I know ain't hold nobody up.
Yeah, I used to be like that because you get to a point where you just like, yeah, if it's me or you, it's definitely never gonna be you. It's gonna be me. So yeah, when you have
Every
to
time.
kind of put
Well,
your boundaries
see,
down, like yeah, no,
yeah, because what would happen is if like people keep like poking at me or whatever, and it'll keep building and building and building, then you see the not so nice side of
yeah,
Stephanie.
yeah,
The Stephanie that goes off, and I see red then.
And now they know you. Now they don't know why you acting like that, Stephanie.
Right, like, yeah. So now I think it's just better for me to just say how I feel and then try to smooth the waters from there. Because otherwise, if you keep bottling stuff in, eventually you'll pop off and you may do something that you don't want to do. So it's better to get it out and, be stand firm on your nose and boundaries and all those things. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yes,
easier if you
ma'am.
just do it at the beginning. Yeah, it's definitely easy if you just speak up at the beginning. But I used to be, me and Stephanie are, are a lot of like, because I used to be like that. I actually explained that to my sir. Like I was the person, well, I say I'm kind of the go-to person, but I say no now quickly. But just kind of, I would let people like say stuff to me and then kind of let it feel like, oh, okay, but I'm simmering inside. And then anybody that knows me. Like, if you ever see me like go off on somebody, my family or my close friends, they know like, yeah, they deserved it. So they kind of just let me sit back till I get to a certain point, because then I just get ridiculous. Somebody got to stop me. But like, if I have to go there, it's because I've given you grace. So now I'm about to I'm about to show you who you're dealing with because I'm tired. But now I try to, that was my past. I like to kind of, can we talk? Can we talk? Because I don't want to crash out. My crash out days are behind me, I should say.
I have a
Yay.
question about that.
Yeah.
Um, what if it's what if it never occurred to you to ever say no to your dom? Is that wrong?
No, not if he doesn't give you anything to say no to. It just depends. Like if you're
Oh, he
if
may
you're
have,
okay.
but it never would have occurred to me to say no.
Oh. Hmm.
Now that is a little where we talk about that safety, that emotional, physical safety. Then that's when you're not honoring yourself as a submissive.
Yeah.
If a D type knows you, I very rarely say no to my sir. He knows me well enough to
Mhm.
know what I'm capable of, know what I'm not capable of. He knows what's in my wheelhouse. But prior to getting to know me, I had to say no to some things because he doesn't know what I like and I can't handle. So you have to verbalize that no, because silence and the absence of that no just means you're okay with it. And the lack of communication for you means that even if they're trying to operate in a place where they feel like they're protecting you, they're not going against your boundaries or your limits, they're not allowed to do that because they don't know what your boundaries and limits are. So you take away from your experience of the dynamic. You don't really get to enjoy the dynamic the way you could enjoy it because you're trying to be everything all the time. And it's not possible, even if you're the only submissive. You can't be everything for somebody. And
But
it's okay for the areas where you can show up for that person, but you gotta let
but
them know that.
but a lot of us as newbies aren't taught that coming in. That was my thing. I didn't
That's
want
why
to
we
be
do
everything, but I didn't know that I was allowed to have a voice. I didn't know that I was allowed to say, okay, no, I don't like this or no. All I was told was you have to know your hard limits. That's where everything stops. So if you didn't list that as a hard limit, then it was okay. And that's what I found. A lot of newbies are not
Yeah.
being taught that. They have to teach their Dom about them.
Yeah.
So may
And
I
funny you should
luckily,
say
speak?
that.
yes,
May
sir.
I speak?
Yeah. Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Oh, Sanger.
So
I didn't know
so
Sanger
let
was
me
on here.
yeah. So let me share this with you, sister. You're right, but you also need to make sure that you can't blame it on being a newbie. you also have to make sure you do the right vetting of communication with the Dom. I get what you're saying, but my whole thing is true Doms, they will be very transparent to make sure that communication is always on the table. They will even let you know what no sounds like being properly used. If you're not comfortable, they need to verbally hear from you, especially when they're getting to know you. So, as a newbie, you're absolutely right. But it's also, I'm not gonna blame DOMs for newbies not knowing. True DOMs, if they care, and they do care for their gifts, they make sure the basic knowledge of knowing how to use your no.
Miss Singer, can
That's
I?
how building confidence, that's how building security and letting you know they are your safety. So getting to know your Dom, it's just like going on a date. It's like dating someone on the vanilla side. You just don't entrust with that person. You get to know and you let them know and they let you know. It's communication. Communication cannot be done enough in the lifestyle or in the vanilla lifestyle. So I just want you to understand for the newbies that are listening, she's absolutely right. But I also want you to hear, don't let the word newbie be the crutch of how things play out. You introduce yourself into a lifestyle with a person, your communication is your foundation of saying, these are the things, these are my boundaries, and this is where my no stands.
Totally agree.
Does that make sense to you, my sister?
Yes, ma'am, it does. You said something though that and I can't, but you said they tell you what the no looks like. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
So, telling you what the no looks like, there's really three types of no's: the no in a dynamic, or
Mhm.
your safe word, the no of if you hear something in conversation and the dynamic of the relationship, like you didn't understand what's being explained to you, like, no, I don't get where you're coming from. He'll
Mhm.
break it down to you in layman terms. That's no
Okay.
number two.
Okay.
And no number three, if you feel like in any point of the conversation where you feel like it's going to the left, just say, no, can we bring it down?
Okay. Okay.
Does that
I,
make sense to you? Because
yes, ma'am,
no
it
has many
does.
powers. It has many definitions. It has many powers. And you're entitled to use all of them.
Yes, ma'am. I was supposed to just be listening tonight. Damn. But
But
thank you.
see, listening and interacting is what we do in this room.
I
Yes.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Singer. I love when you come through. I just learned about the three no's.
Yes. Thank you.
Listen, I'm gonna be watching this video yet later so I can write those three no's down because I'm still working on saying no with certain people in my family, and that helped. No,
Can
no.
I
Okay, I'm
interject
practicing.
something in here a little bit? So what I would suggest is have very difficult conversations early as possible in your dynamic
Mhm.
to the point where you may disagree by design, but I want to hear what that disagreement sounds like. Right. So what I have experienced, I'm gonna talk about myself, that later in the relationship, a previous one that I had, we knew early that we were misaligned, but we continued on it because it was comfortable. And by the time that misalignment got to a point where we were no longer compatible, I blame the fact that I allowed it from the start when I knew we were misaligned. Did I say that right? Did I get into?
Yeah.
Because it was so good and comfortable. When we're good, we're good, but when we're bad, we're terrible, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but from just the questions that we had asked each other, I knew early it was misaligned. So I say this to the emotional help, and this is from Dom's perspective, from the D type perspective, we have emotions too that we have to protect. We have boundaries that we have to protect. And it's better to have to say no and mean that early to prevent saying, oh, well, you never said that. I told you no in the beginning. Now, 6 months in, I didn't change my mind, what I did not like, right? So, and I encourage that on both sides of the slash. Understand what your no is. And yes, you do grow over time. What was an absolute no at the beginning may be, okay, let's talk about it, right? But you have to do some honest assessments of yourself. Do you really want to do that thing or be in that place? And if you're not being satisfied, the good thing about most of our relationships are the door is open. We're here by consent. We are here by consent. So both parties have to give that consent to be in this space, whatever the space that may be. I'm off my soapbox.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. That was a whole word, y'all. Y'all getting gifts and gems. Y'all, these vets on here. We appreciate you and Miss Finga. And definitely, I want to do a shameless plug for Triskelion Dynasty's S-Type Chat, which I host along with Sheba, my co-host. And we touch a lot on newbies. So we actually touch on using your voice and not just going along. Because you want your submission, you want your service in your submission to be genuine. So I can't serve you if I'm internally misaligned or just going with something that, truly doesn't align with me or doesn't agree with me. You have to be vocal. And like Sir Crow said, the hard conversations they're ultra uber important up front because I don't want to waste nobody's time and I don't want nobody wasting my time. So if I know you want this, and I'm not gonna be able to do this. Let's go ahead and just we cool, but we gonna go ahead and part ways, and this
If
is
I could
over.
jump in,
Yeah, sure.
sister, I think one of the first things the dominant leads in that vetting period are those hard conversations. Um, a dom should have a PhD in this sub, right?
Mm.
So what does she want? What does she like? Her favorite color, her favorite flower, the taste she likes. Um, Deep in her history, was there molestation? Where's your trauma? Where are you? Um, and I think that's one of your first things you should be looking for as a sub. Like, is he leading in these deep, uncomfortable conversations? Because sometimes women are never like listened to or asked those real deep things. It's just do what I say. Here, say this mantra, send me a picture with your titties out, do this, do that, like just some whatever shit going on. But it's especially TPE. I think that you're gonna have those conversations and he has to lead that. It shouldn't be you saying, oh, and by the way, oh, and by the way, and you should know this and you should know that. It should be meted out and directed. Now, of course, you're going to add to it, right? But I think that's the first red flag you look for. And if he or she, or however your dynamic works, um, ask those questions, then they already know a lot of times what your no is going to be or what you really don't want to do. I know, like, even when we go out to eat, like, she doesn't have to order, right? Because I know what she wants. She wants this. She likes this. She likes that. She likes this. Every now and again, she'll jump in and be like, wait, I think I want the ice cream this time. But I just think that those things need to happen. And if they don't, you should be putting your track shoes on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you for
In the chat, Queen says, thank you so much to the G types for coming in and sharing and dropping gems. It's
that.
most appreciated hearing y'all's perspectives, and it really is. We really appreciate when the D types do swing through because we never want to offer one-sided perspectives. We want you to kind of understand it from both sides. So glad that they were here to give those gems. And before we go on, I just want to say one thing in response to all the stuff that's going on. The only person that is in charge of deciding what your submission looks like is you. That is not decided by a D type. That is not decided by a Dame. That is not decided by a switch. You decide who you are as a submissive, what your submission looks like, what feels most organic to you, and then you allow yourself to find or be found by people that align with who you are as a submissive. If you feel like you have to alter your submission style to fit a D type, that is not your D type. It goes back to what Sir Crow was saying. Sometimes we just don't know when to let go. And that also jumps into that saying no. As a submissive, if you don't verbalize when you're uncomfortable, when you're unhappy, when you're not in a familiar space, the only person that suffers for that is you. So you have to speak up and decide, who am I going to be within this dynamic? And is what required of this dynamic, does it align with my values and who I am as a submissive? If the answer is no to that, then we saying no to some other stuff. So definitely that's what we're here for. We're asking y'all these questions, not just to get the feedback. It works well for our Zooms. We get your interaction, we get your engagement, but we want you walking away thinking. Now we can't provide you all the answers because we're a TPE dynamic with a polycoil add-on. Our dynamic looks like how we want it to look like. But what we can give you is what we've learned about the basics. So that's what we want to take away from tonight. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it back over to Summer.
All righty. So we're going to go ahead and jump into case study 2, habitation drift. So a person initially notices discomfort in a dynamic, touching on what Sheba just touched on. But over time, they stop questioning decreases, tolerance increases, emotional resistance fades. Eventually, what once triggered awareness becomes background noise. This reflects habitation patterns when repetition dulls emotional response without resolving underlying misalignment. And that came from Lazarus in 1991. So again, I would kind of say, like looking at the case study, to me, like numb in a situation where you're just kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna keep it pushing, which is never a good thing. Definitely question. And I always ask questions if you need to ask questions, though. Definitely want to be, yeah, we always preach in the S-type chat, be authentic in yourself. Because if you're not authentic in yourself, the service, whatever you're trying to provide somebody, it's not worth anything. Because you not being real with yourself. So how are you going to be real with somebody else? So that's just my 2 cents on the case.
Bam. And look, everything is just flowing. Like, we just having a random conversation and missed our talking points, but it is flowing because the next session is self-adjustment versus relational evaluation. So now
Oh my God.
we're going back and talking of that self-reflection. When discomfort shows up, many people immediately self-correct. And I know we have all done it. They assume they caused attention, they must fix it. They should adapt to restore the balance. But ethical evaluation requires shared responsibility, not one sided adjustment. When one person consistently overadapts, imbalance forms. One partner regulates the dynamic, the other remains unexamined. That is not ethics, that is emotional overfunctioning. That is you taking on all of the discomfort in a dynamic. Everything. They are able to be comfortable, they're able to be free, they're able to be true to their dominance or submission, while meanwhile on the other hand, you're the one uncomfortable, you're the one not liking the nature of the dynamic, you're the one eating the tension and shrinking yourself in order to fit within the dynamic, and emotionally that wears on you. So it's not just about enjoying the dynamic, it's about being able to show up as your most healthy self, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Absolutely. We have anything in the chat before we continue?
Let's see here.
Y'all so
Ooh,
gonna have me ready for my next dynamic. Thank you.
you
You're
welcome.
Y'all
welcome.
gonna
That's
have
what
That's what
we
me
I'm
here
here
for.
ready.
for.
Oh, y'all gonna have me ready.
And I
But
want to
yeah,
hear all about it too.
listen, come spill the tea in the S type chat.
You know I
Yes,
will.
yes, yes,
but
yes.
But we didn't have a lot of responses, but we did have a couple of points that I did want to highlight, a couple of responses that I did want to highlight because we had a lot of feedback from that last discussion question. I'm
Mhm.
currently learning, this comes from Maisha, I'm currently learning how not to be such a people pleaser and say no. I do have a very quiet personality, so I'm not a confrontational person as well. You be quiet and still let them know. You listen. You can say it at whisper to them. No, make them lean in and hear it, Maisha. No, it is. You can be soft and you can be heard. So it is a-okay to stay quiet, and you don't have to change who you are to be accepted. So that is a-okay. Uh, Chance asks, don't ignore the red flags. Absolutely not,
Never.
Chance. We already know what that looks like. I found myself in some situations, and I know a lot of my vets and my more experienced S types and D types alike have found themselves in some situations like, how did I get here? Because the flag was waving and you closed your eyes and walked around it. That's how that happens. Sugar, how do you tell the difference between someone respecting your consent versus someone genuinely caring for your well being? I feel like those two things should go hand in hand. If they respect you, there needs to be a level of care there. Because if you respect someone, for instance, I am with a true sadist in every facet of the word. But there are certain things that we don't do scene wise because he knows that though I'll agree to it, that's one of those things I said we're all working on it. If my sir wants it, I am willing to provide it outside of what's on my heart limits things. But his care for me, his concern and respect for me doesn't allow him to cross those lines. So though I would be willing, like he said, that's when the check-ins come. And that's how he knows that, yeah, you said yeah, but your yeah is not a real yeah. So I don't think you should separate the two, Sugar. And I'm gonna let if the other vets want to speak up, but I don't think I feel like if someone respects cares for you, they need to respect you and vice versa. But if any of the other vets would like the floor, feel free. All right. Let's see. Other than that, let me see here. EJ says that he is not in the sub chat, Summer.
Okay, can you shoot me a DM, my DM, and I'll go ahead and add you. Anybody else welcome to join? We got a
Listen,
retreat coming up, so we better have a good time the end of September. So definitely there is space. Come aboard. And yeah,
That's good.
we
That's good to be.
have a good time.
That's good to be. What is your name off here?
It's summer night.
All right. Go ahead and look it up in the chat.
Okay. And then I'll look for it and I'll add you. And anyone else, please feel free to DM me just so I won't forget. And I'll add
listen,
you right after the Zoom.
but definitely come join the group. It is a blast, and in
Mhm.
September, it's gonna be a bunch of S types in the woods. It's gonna be amazing. Um,
Well, we'll have it. We'll have our D types close
Look,
by so we
the
safe.
D types will be nearby for any S types that would like to bring your D types. Feel free. Our sir will be there. He is getting real naturalist that weekend. Here
We're
he
gonna thug it
comes.
out. We're gonna thug it out. Yo, come out. We're gonna sleep under the stars. We're gonna eat what we catch or what we hunt. We eating squirrels and shit. We're
Oh
gonna
my
be
God, the lake is
all
beautiful.
right, maybe not squirrels, maybe not squirrels. But we're gonna thug
Ew.
it. So it's gonna be a good time though, for real. We're gonna go fishing when there's a lake out there. It's gonna be a real good time. Make sure y'all come out. Indeed.
Yeah. The S types are staying in the cabin though, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Um,
We don't
I
do
love and
outside. We
support
don't
my
sleep outside.
sir and all his naturalists, but when he said he was just bringing a tent, um, you got that. You
A
got that
machete.
respect. But D types, he
I'm
is
bringing a
there.
machete and a fishing pole.
Listen, there are some D types also staying in hotels. So just check in with our sir or me or Summer. There are D types that will be doing the hotel thing, but the retreat itself, the cabin itself, is for our S types. We want you guys to be free, be comfortable, We want to commune, dance naked under the moon. Okay, that was my idea. But we can do some moon dancing if y'all want to do some moon dancing.
Yeah, we are getting together, so it will be a great time. So definitely excited for that and to start making it an annual, possibly co-ed thing, depending on my sir's approval. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But all right. We keeping them nice, Summer. So let's go ahead and go for because we know some of you guys get bedtime, you got other obligations.
Yeah. Do you wanna go ahead and do yours?
Let's see here. You want to skip over this case study right here?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, got it. All right, now we're gonna go on to delayed expression. And if anyone would like that case study that we're skipping just for time's sake, feel free to reach out to us. Of course, you know Summer's gonna put the references in the chat, but if you would like that case study, we have it. We don't hold nothing hostage. But let's go on. Delayed expression. Delayed communication is one of the most common ethical breakdown points. People avoid expressing discomfort to avoid conflict, preserve connection, and maintain emotional stability. But emotional suppression does not disappear, it accumulates. I'm going back to what Sir Crow said. He was in that dynamic and nobody walked away. And after a while, it became something neither of them can ignore. And that's what happens. It is not a snowball, it's an avalanche. And most times you don't realize it until that heap of snow is falling on both of y'all heads. And also maintaining emotional stability. Uh, what starts as a small unspoken moment becomes emotional buildup that eventually demands release in a less regulated form. That is really nice family speak for a crash out. Um, That's when you get those crash outs. When I don't know why she acted like that. Because even if someone is not outwardly pushing you, let's just say it's one of those situations where you're not utilizing your no. They don't know they're violating your consent, but you do. And then it builds, and then it builds, and then all of a sudden you crash out because I don't like being hit on my back with an actual whip, but you hadn't expressed that, and now the frustration of it is just bubbling out. Alrighty, Summer, headed it off to you. You got a question for our peoples?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead. So my question posed to the chat: do you tend to speak immediately or after it's already built up? I kind of just went to the communication. So if there's something that you're in disagreement with, do you kind of let it slide, think about it, speak up right away, or let it build up and then crash out? And then anyone can come off mute or put your answers in the chat.
Hey,
May I speak?
Queen.
Hey y'all, may I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
To answer that question, I don't. I'm really vocal when things bother me, but I also had to learn discernment because Sire doesn't like immediate reactions. He likes to be settled into the questions and then give him time to actually answer the questions. So I don't tend to wait. If something is bothering me, yeah, I tend to just go for it. Like I know how to speak to him, but I just go for it because I can't hold it. My facial expressions show my emotions. My body language shows that I'm tense and angry. So if I don't say it right off, he's already immediately gonna know that something's wrong. And I would rather just speak up for myself than for him to constantly ask me what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for that feedback, Queen. Sir, I see you have your mute. Oh, okay. He disappeared again. In the chat, going back. Oh, okay. Good to know. I'll bring my daddy. Can't wait to meet y'all. Yay, y'all. Chances coming to the retreat. Eh. And she said we can dance naked. Bam. I got one volunteer. Woo, woo, woo. Let's see here. Kayla said it sounds fun. However, I am not one with the earth. Listen, Kayla, that's why I said that type's gonna be inside the cabin. We can look
Yeah.
at nature from the window if you want. Um, just look at it. We're gonna have air conditioning.
Yeah,
We
we'll
are
do
working
some
on a really
activities
dope
outside for
menu
yeah.
with Summers, her one of her besties is working on a really dope menu for us. So there's gonna be food. There may be some libations. We are gonna have water too because nobody check in. Stop. Y'all won't be y'all D types won't be looking at us like she didn't check in not once over the weekend. No, she had water and everything. Sorry, it was all available to her. Is the chat for the upcoming trip or a general chat? It's a general S type chat. We're probably, as we get closer to the date, gonna do a separate chat for everyone in attendance. So definitely reach out to us if you're S type, or Sir if you're D type, and we probably can get a chat going sometime soon. Uh,
Yeah, it'll be by early next week. We'll have a retreat chat.
Oh, perfect. So we can announce it in our next Tuesday talk for you guys, more than likely. Let's see here. Queen asks, I don't, and that is had to learn that my D type needs time and space to process. Yes, ma'am. We have the same kind of D type. You gotta let Sir think first. Once he think through some stuff and he work it out in his head, then he ready to talk, and we gonna get that game plan downloaded. So I'm with you right there. Oh
And don't do
no,
it, and don't do
Bree.
it early either. Don't do it early. After
Listen, not before 9 a.m.
and that after what time?
8
9 p.m.
p.m.
9 p.m.
9
Yeah.
p.m. Oops, 9 p.m. I start shutting up at 8 p.m. You gotta shut
Oh,
me
okay.
down in stages. No, Bree. She says I tend to let it build up. Write it, Bree. Put it somewhere else. You don't gotta put it in their hands necessarily right now. That is the goal. Eventually, you need to talk to them, but you can journal it. Talk to your therapist, talk to a friend, but someone needs to know, because it as we get older, it wears on us physically. Stress, worry, doubt, fear. As you get older, it physically manifests. You be having body pains and chest aches because you stressed out and you mad at somebody, you didn't tell them why you was mad. So let's listen. That's gonna be our goal this year, Bree. We gonna at least we gonna bump it up from always building up to about 25% of the time. We gonna tell you immediately. Baby stages. Stephanie, she processes first, but she will speak up. Uh, Summer has added the link for our Triskelions Academy in the chat, you guys. We're just gonna throw that shameless plug in here then, now that it's there. Everything we discuss, all the big points, if you're looking for a novice class, we're designing new leadership courses. Sir's getting some new leadership courses that look amazing together. That's where you find them. You're gonna find them at Triskelions Academy. And currently, our novice course is free. So definitely, if anything resonated or you want to explore it differently, we're going to make sure all the resources we utilize are made available to you guys. Let's see here. Timothy Ann, once again, and never have told my dom no. Well, that is a goal for us too. Just like Bree's going to work on speaking up and not letting it build, baby step it. You know,
Yeah.
let's we go for one no. That don't mean you got to start saying no to everything, but find
Yeah.
something that really it really doesn't settle well with you. Something that's really not comfortable for you. Some bigger motivation if it's something that emotionally you need, not have, in order to remain stable with the dynamic. Just practice one no. Just start with one no. See how it feels. Ride with it. Write that no down first. There's no right way to do this, and I don't want you to feel like you're doing something wrong by being in agreements, but I do want to make sure that you have those tools that when it's necessary to speak up for yourself, you speak up. Let me see here. Chance also takes moments to process her thoughts and emotions so she can gather her words. Then she acts to speak freely. Also, that I saw it in the chat is not what you say, but how you say it. You want to go to that D type respectfully. And in instances of ownership, it's best to request that floor to speak. Whether you're asking to speak freely or you're asking to schedule time, that communication definitely helps. Let's see here. Latricia, I love when Latricia gives me her feedback. It's so intelligent. She be making me think while she helping us think. It depends. She says there are times I have to take a moment and see if I'm responding to what is happening or trauma past reaction. That is it. Definitely. I think we all have fallen victim to that. Operating from a place of trauma when we're thinking it's a rational thought. So you are not alone in that, honey. You are supported. Again, S type chat. If you're looking to pick the brain of D types, we have D types that are vets in the game in the group. I'm certain a lot of them wouldn't mind answering those questions for you. So that's what this is here for. It's a resource. It's community. We want y'all to know y'all got family here. Alrighty. I have nothing else in the chat, Summer, so I'm going to send it back your way.
All righty, so we're going to go ahead and touch on awareness versus interruption. Awareness is not the same as change. Many people can identify patterns clearly. They know what they repeat. They understand why it happens. They can predict the outcome. But without interruption, insight becomes observation instead of transformation. Ethical dynamics require behavioral disruption of patterns, not just awareness of them. Um, so a lot of that resonates as self-awareness when you know why you say, for instance, say something or your behavior. It's always good to internalize where those feelings come from. A lot of times those feelings can come from trauma. I've dealt with that and experienced and become a lot self-aware of myself in this dynamic. So I kind of know why I tick, why my mouth can get flat and I get in trouble. I know where that comes from. It's not, sometimes it's just not off the cuff, like you're trying to be disobedient. It really, it can resonate from something that happened in childhood or something that you let build up from the past and it kind of spills over. So being aware of different patterns is definitely key. And that just boils down to like self-awareness and that's being a newbie. That's things you'll learn off the gate. Like you have to know yourself first. I think once you know yourself, and you know what makes you perform your best service, things that maybe make you not perform your best service, I think you can get in that good sweet spot where it can just be, yeah. And that sweet spot in service submission is everything. So definitely comes down to awareness and any patterns, kind of talking to your deep side and kind of getting to the root of it. Effective communication can resolve a lot of things, whether it's effectively communicated where this works and we're going to continue, or this does not work and we may need to have another conversation. So that's where I get from that.
Listen,
And I
you're
think you
spot.
have something. Yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
no, you're spot on, honey. So much so, we're just gonna leave that last case study alone as
Oh,
well
we got
because
something in the chat.
essentially
Wait a minute,
it's.
Sheba. I think Sir got something in the chat.
Let's
Sir
see
Crow.
here.
I saw it pop up.
All right. Sir Crow adds, build timing in your dynamic for the airing of grievances. I use Wednesday lunch to listen to my sub. If there has been no issue that week, we just vibe. But I ask that she be authentic and honest.
Mhm.
I like
That's a dope
that. That is,
idea. Listen, look at all the head nods, Sir Crow. We're
yeah.
definitely in agreement. It can't help, especially when you're busy. Some folks got kids, you got grown kids, young kids, you got jobs, you got side hustles, you got multiple partners. So definitely sometimes organization and intentionally taking time out to speak or not speak, just enjoy the vibe.
Enjoy the
It
vibe.
definitely can be beneficial, I
Yeah.
think, for a lot of people.
It helps.
Kayla asks, I'm a critical thinker, so I require time to process, then I communicate. I feel like that's best, Kayla. Um, I'm glad I am finding that, and I am so glad you already have that because sometimes it can be that time we take to process that prevents this from being a catastrophic interaction when it's just really just sharing of something that we don't agree with or doesn't align with us. So definitely the critical thinking is awesome. It's something that you need in this lifestyle because it's not just doing what it is we do, it's knowing the why behind it. And that extends to the intimate relationships beyond the scene. When you yell cut and the whips go away and the floggers go away, it's still imperative because that's when the real work comes in because we're doing stuff that for vanilla people might be traumatic in itself and we're utilizing it to work through trauma. So definitely make sure you're always having those conversations and you're staying up to date in your mental status with your D type or S type because it goes both ways. D types have mental days too where they just need to disconnect or they can't handle all that comes with it. So they also need to be extended that same grace.
Right.
Uh,
1 second. I want to go back. John Crow was about to say something before we got on that next part.
yes, sir.
You
Sir?
guys covered it. I was just saying about Wednesdays is helpful, especially if we have a busy schedule um, and multiple partners across geographical locations, right?
Right.
So Wednesday lunch, like people say check-ins, whatever. Unless there is something that's absolutely pressing, then save it for Wednesday. We'll cover it. If it's something I have to get involved in right now, then by all means come to me, tell me what the problem is. But if it's something, I didn't like wearing hoochie daddy shorts to the picnic, tell me about it Wednesday. And I say, I like my hoochie daddy shorts. Get over it. That's it.
So tell me about a Wednesday. I like that. About a
Listen.
Wednesday.
All right, guys, we are
Daddy
winding
short, dog.
down.
Where you go?
Of
You
course,
show up over
we like
here.
to end. Yes, sir.
I was just making fun of John Crow saying, "Don't show up over here with no fucking hoochie daddy shorts on. You're gonna be outside smoking cigars and shit."
Sir. And of course, all the beautiful conversation we've had tonight leads us to the final moment of the night before I hand this off to Summer so she can bring y'all Miss Finger. Our self vetting. Before you leave, ask yourself: am I evaluating my dynamics or just explaining them? Am I interrupting patterns or documenting them? Am I choosing alignment or repeating familiar? Blah, 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 blah. Y'all know the word familiar. Arity. Bam. Ethical awareness without behavioral change is still repetition. It's not enough to be aware of the behavior. It's not enough to be aware of how it impacts those around you. Awareness means nothing if you're not actively working through those to make changes that are realistic and positively impactful to those around you. But let me go ahead. I've already done a shameless plug. Y'all have heard about the Academy, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it back off to Miss Summer.
All righty. And we're going to go ahead and introduce our sis, the beautiful, talented, educated Miss Singer.
Thank you for the intro.
You're welcome,
So
sis.
I'm going to say this. Consent is willing. It takes a willingness to want to consent. When you are willing to consent and you're consenting to something you're not sure about, go to your no. But when you go to your no, this is how I want you to look at it. No does not mean we're about to go to war. Okay? No is still a good understanding to open a communication of what's about to take place that you're not comfortable with. And the last thing about the third no I notice is it's still the safe word in any language. It's a safe word. So free yourself to say it's okay to say no and have a conversation about what that no means. It doesn't always have to be at war. It's a good communication tool. It opens on both sides, your Dom side, and it makes you more at ease that you can go to your Dom and say, you know what, I'm saying no to this. And he or she is willing to listen to what that no means to you. Stick on that no for the right reasons. There's no wrong reason. Only wrong reason if you don't use it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Aw,
We
thank
love
you.
her. So before we
Can
hand
I
it off to
just can
Sir,
I just
Summer, do
say
you have
something real
any?
quick?
Yes, sir.
That shirt that Singer is wearing is fire. I love that shirt. Singer, say something so everybody can see that shirt again.
So,
There it is.
Tell them the story, sis. Tell them the story about the shirts. Right.
okay, so the shirt. I have a love passion for samurais, ninjas, but a sister with her crown up high,
Mhm.
hey, that's a lot of power with a lot of obedience.
Indeed.
Let's hear that part.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a lot of obedience, willing obedience. Yeah.
Listen, Stephanie says it's so badass, Miss Singer.
It is. Singer got to make me a shirt. Singer, you want to
Listen,
tell
I
them how you do
want
your shirt?
one too.
Oh
She
yeah.
made that shirt. Like she
I'm
mixed
Lee
it up.
Scissorhands. So it was a regular t-shirt. So I made it into a halter top.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it look cute.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make you one, Sheba.
Ooh.
I'll make you and Summer one. Y'all
Here's the
just
thing:
send
if
me a
you make Sheba
t-shirt.
one, you gotta make one with the cleavage out, because
Just cut up the front.
we gotta what y'all call it? A keyhole? That's what you call it?
Yeah.
Fort Knox. That's Fort Knox.
Yep.
Right, right.
Latricia asks, "Thank you, Night Family, for your efforts for the community." You are welcome, Latricia. We do this for the
Welcome.
love.
My pleasure.
We all had a growth part in our BDSM journey, all three of us, the whole house, where we didn't see a lot of people that looked like us that could help us learn this lifestyle. So we're glad that we can show up for you guys every Tuesday. And we're glad you guys keep supporting us, supporting this channel, supporting what we do. It just allows us to keep pushing this out because, like I said, it's not free, and we don't charge because we want you guys here. We want you learning. We want you growing with us. This is a community. It is a group, and y'all family. Whether y'all know or not, y'all extended cousins and aunties and uncles and stuff. So thank you so much for that. Summer, do you have any last words before I kick it off to Sir?
I don't. I definitely enjoyed everyone's commentary in the chat and you vibing with us every Tuesday. I invite everyone to come back and definitely, if you're not in any of the chats, check the group for all of the different good chat. We have some really great chats, and any of the S types on there, definitely Summer Night. You're welcome to DM me to get in the chat, or if you ever have any questions or concern, my DM is always open for S types. Right, Daddy?
Yes.
That's a little joke. I got him.
A joke, a
That,
joke.
that'll be for M types. My last words of the night: consent doesn't equate to care. So you have to be mindful and you have to be active mentally in your dynamic. Show up present, because it takes both of you guys to make it work, and you can't just coast through that. So don't equate that consent to care. Make sure that that consent is an action word in your dynamic. Whatever kind of dynamic that is, it needs to be an action word. It needs to be acted out with real respect, care, and compassion on a daily basis. But before we close out, we're going to pass it over to Sir for something insightful, or at the very least, a dad joke.
What's up, y'all? So before I tell my joke, I wanted to show y'all something. Y'all see this pen right here? I don't know if y'all can see it or not. It's got my military crest on it, for first calf. Yeah, I love this pen. It could write underwater. It could write under other words too, but it definitely writes underwater.
Daddy, was that the joke?
I
That
think
was
it
a
was.
joke. Okay, all right. That wasn't great. I got another one though. Right? All right. How come dinosaurs can't clap? Because they're extinct. No.
Yo, man, hit this right. Hit this.
He trying to get his swing.
I know
Just
that
go
was
down.
good.
Look
All
at
right,
that
y'all.
guy.
Hey, I appreciate y'all coming and hanging with us. Every week we get more and more people that come. Tells me that y'all are telling people, and people are coming to check us out, and I really appreciate that. Like we said earlier, we do this for the love. We don't get paid for this. We just kind of doing this. We know what's needed out there, and the payment that we receive is when we get an inbox of you saying thank you for all you do, or when we get a DM from someone asking a question, and we give them an answer, and it really solves their issue that they had. So thank you for all your time. Thank you for coming and spending time with us this evening. Y'all getting off work. I know y'all ain't really hang out too late, so we're gonna let y'all go. But I really appreciate y'all when I say Forte Horas Una, because I truly believe it. It means stronger together. I live this every day. I want y'all to know that we mean this. Forte Horas Una, good night.
Bye,
See you next
guys.
Bye. See y'all. Oh, you're welcome.